All right, thanks everybody, and welcome to what is hopefully the first of many member spotlight interviews for Wrestling All Day All Night. And I am here with the Chainsaw Queen herself, the absolutely wonderful Black Dahlia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on.
I'm happy to have you here. It's been a long time coming. This is something we've wanted to do for a long time. Let's get this thing started. So,
I'm ready.
what made you decide that you wanted to become a wrestler? What was your inspiration, motivation? What got you to that point?
Right. So there's two different answers for this question. One was what made me get involved with the business because at
Mhm.
first I was just an actor. I was a kid that was going to go to the New York Film Academy and just be an actor that stepped into wrestling and was became a valet and manager. So what got me involved with that was to add something to my resume. And when I fell in love with wrestling and decided to become a professional wrestler and train and become a professional wrestler, uh, falling in love with the business, being a part of the business on the indies, paying my dues, tearing down rings and building them up, and then traveling for miles and hours, sleeping out of the vehicle. Falling in love with the business made me want to become a professional wrestler.
Yeah, that's great to hear. They're especially early on. It's good to hear that you had such a real dedication to it because from
Yeah.
what I've seen, what I've heard, there's a lot of dues paying. There's a lot of like what you had said, the setting up the ring and
Yeah.
doing all the little things that to some people might be stuff they don't necessarily want to do.
Right. A lot of people unfortunately skip their dues and skip what I've been involved with professional wrestling since 2011,
Oh wow.
and I was just 18 years old when I got involved. So I was just a baby, a theater kid that knew nothing about professional wrestling. I wasn't a fan. I knew nothing about it. When I was offered this job, they called it a valet, and I thought they meant the people that park cars.
Park the
I
cars.
I did not. I've never heard of valet except for that. Like I didn't know the wrestling terminology. I didn't know about the wrestling business. So I was that theater nerd that got involved with the business, and then I ended up falling in love with it. And I never took it seriously when I was just a valet. I would just my best friend Nathaniel, that goes by the Kill Billy, uh, Nate Hewitt. Uh, he was the wrestler that was in love with the business, and I was doing it as a side job as an actor. But then when I fell in love with wrestling, I was like, I want to train. I want to be the best of the best. I don't want to just be a goof in tights that hasn't been properly trained. I wanted to be that professional. So I ended up packing one suitcase and leaving all my friends and family behind. And I ended up training under Funaki for just under a year, then Rikishi for just under a year. I made the ultimate sacrifice every wrestler ultimately has to make when it comes to professional wrestling and becoming a professional wrestler.
Yeah, it's definitely a sacrifice. One is very, very demanding, very challenging, and
Yeah.
it's great that you started off in one position as a valet, not parking cars, but a valet, accompanying to the ring, and it's great that that gave you like a taste, that gave you
Yeah.
like the put the bug in your ear, put the bug in your mind that this is what you might want to do forever and ever, amen. And you did the work and you moved on from there. And I
Yeah.
think that's really great. That's really great that you took the bull by the horns on that one. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of skip steps when they get involved with the wrestling business, but I wanted to take it seriously. I wanted to be the best of the best and a professional, and I trained under Funaki for just under a year, and then when I went out to LA to train under Rikishi, I slept in my vehicle. I work a shoot job that's night shift. I still work it to this day. It's a 10-hour night shift job. I made the all time sacrifice of sleeping in my vehicle in the daytime, paying for wrestling school, being homeless. I reverted to having to have no access to a toilet. I had to use the bathroom in a cup, a styrofoam cup that I had from McDonald's. I
Oh my
to become
gosh.
a professional wrestler. I um all my money went to wrestling school, and I had to go and shower at my Planet Fitness, my 24-hour gym membership that thankfully was just like $20. And I did it all because of my passion and love for wrestling. And when I was training under Rikishi, it was like on my seventh month mark. And just sleeping out of my vehicle, paying the dues, doing what you're supposed to do to make it to the big leagues. You hear about all these legends, like the typical. I had a piece of bread and toothpaste, and that's all I had to eat. You know, you hear about all these wrestlers making sacrifices, and I lived that. I lived that dream. I instead of just falling in love with wrestling and just having family support me, my family didn't support me. They thought wrestling was trash and that I was trash for getting involved with wrestling. No
Hmm.
one supported me except Nathaniel, and him and I have just been best friends since the beginning, and we really helped each other out. And deciding to train under Rikishi in LA and sleeping out of my vehicle for wrestling, it really humbles you. It really, I could have done it the other way, like other people like do, like clout chase. Like there's so many people that
Yeah.
clout chase, or so many people are involved, like they are about the money or the fame, and I was sleeping out of my vehicle just so I could wrestle. And unfortunately, wrestling put me in a wheelchair, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Um, can you talk a little bit about how your initial training went? You said you had started with Funaki,
Yes.
and then you had moved to LA under Rikishi.
Technically, when I got involved with wrestling, I studied a lot of different footage, and my friend at the time, Nathaniel, was at OVW when they
Okay.
were in. I think it was like TNA territory leagues or TNA's developmental
Okay.
area. So I was just, a theater kid. I got accepted into part of this agency that had me audition for New York Film Academy. That's what I was doing. And then when I met up with Bobby Blaze. He's Smoky Mountain Championship. He is amazing. He old school wrestler. He was my first mentor, and he's like, "Why are you just being the manager?" He's like, "You have the look. You have the it.
Hmm.
Um, you have the athletic background. Like you need to do this. You actually could make a career out of this." And Bobby Blaze really pushed me to recognize my capabilities and to recognize I could be a wrestler. So there I was in this random makeshift ring in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains, and it's outside, and it starts to rain. And I'm locking up with Bobby Blaze for the first time ever locking up with anyone. And I'm like, I'm going to be a wrestler. So then I go and train under Funaki. He was amazing. He is such a nice guy, and he's all about um a very stiff, stern lockup to make it look nice and crisp. Like
Hmm.
he was all about protecting your body, but also the first thing people see is that snatch, that lockup, and I take away from him the professionalism and the safety of wrestling. And then when I trained under Rikishi, the thing I took away from him was the nice, solid bump to protect your body. And then also the money and the business part of wrestling is what I learned under Rikishi. And three amazing people that I just listed.
Yeah, Bobby, Funaki, and Rikishi. It sounds like all three of their training, all three of their lessons all together gave you probably the most well-rounded experience you could get at that level. And that sounds like it's a really good springboard for the future.
Yeah, I feel like anyone listening out there that ever wanted to get involved with wrestling, like when you want to go for a job, what do you think? You want to educate yourself and go to the best of the best schools. You want to go to Harvard. You want to go to Yale. Well, that's what the same thing with wrestling. If you want to take wrestling seriously, you get trained. You don't just go out in the indies and try to hurt. You could accidentally hurt yourself or somebody. So I want to be the best of the best. So I spent the time, money, and I made the sacrifice to be homeless just so I could afford wrestling school, because wrestling school was like rent. It was very expensive at both places, and I did it. I showed up every day. I went to the gym every day. I worked out every day. And to any kid listening out there, research local schools and find the best school to go to and train and educate yourself. Because, like I just mentioned, my friend Nathaniel, he was training at OVW before he came along with me for Funaki and Rikishi. And when he was training under Rip Rogers said, I can take anyone off the street and make them a better wrestler than taking someone off the indies that learned all these bad indie habits and was never properly trained. And then now
Yeah.
I gotta untrain them and then train them properly because it's hard to break bad indie habits. So I wanted to make sure I didn't learn anything that I couldn't unlearn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get the proper training, and especially when it comes to safety, you get the safety
Yeah.
protocols and all that stuff down. And also important, what you said too, show up. Make sure you're there. Any lesson, any training, any sage words, any sage advice, be
You
there
know
and
what
listen,
that
learn.
old saying is like even on your deathbed you'll learn something new. You
Yeah,
always have to open your ears and close your mouth and just learn and grow. And it's always exciting. It's wrestling. You're involved with wrestling because you love it. And well, what better thing to learn something, educate yourself more on something that you love and hopefully make a career out of.
I had a professor who would use the phrase "show up and shut up."
Yeah, it does seem toxic, but it's true. Like, so it's okay not to always be right, and it's okay to. We're here to learn, and what better way than to learn from the masters, people that actually have made a name for themselves and made a living out of it.
Yeah, exactly. The living legend, so to speak.
Yeah.
So what you mentioned the fact that you were in a wheelchair.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how that happened?
Right. So, as I was just stating, I was a valet for so many years on the indies, just, dicking around, not taking it seriously. Then, when I decided to take it seriously, I went through Bobby Blaze, Funaki, and then Rikishi. So, the whole setup is I'm sleeping out of my vehicle in the daytime. The air conditioning does not work in my vehicle. It's Los Angeles, California. It's hot as fuck. It's it's awful working a full like on hard concrete for 10 hours, and I have a thing in my feet. I had a thing in my feet called plantar fasciitis, and basically it's just the bottom of your feet, the ligaments are rubbing and it's swelling, causing inflammation and causing pain. So battled that and sleeping out of my vehicle, let alone in the daytime, going to the gym, working out, showering, just being homeless, and then getting up. I'm lucky if I have like 3 hours of sleep, go and train at Rikishi's, and then go and get in LA traffic just to start it all over again and work night shift. So my body is taking a lot of abuse.
Yeah,
My body
absolutely.
is inflamed and just overworked. I'm not even wrestling, or I'm wrestling at school, but I'm not even out there like having fun with it and like taking bookings. And I'm not going home and sleeping in a bed and then recuperating. My body was taking so much of abuse that my plantar fasciitis got so bad that in a match out in LA, Rikishi was there. The whole school was like around me. I ended up the swelling got so bad when I slammed onto the concrete, I tore both ligaments in both of my feet. So
Oh boy.
that's yeah, Rikishi had to actually tell me to stop because there's a code in wrestling. Wrestling hurts. So if you're hurt, continue. But if you're
Mm,
injured, stop.
yeah.
So I was like, I'm just hurt. I'm just hurt. It's fine. It's fine. And Rikishi's like, no, you're injured. It's unfortunate what happened to me, but when you, as an athlete or as a regular person, when you get injured, you have surgery, you recover, you move on, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's been 6 years, guys. 6 years, and every second of every day, I've been in pain.
Oh wow. So
So
6 years since the initial injury, you're still feeling like the same pain from that day.
worse, worse,
Oh
but
my
yeah, I have not been out of pain every single second, every single day. Sitting here talking to you, I'm in pain. I have been in chronic pain that fluctuates. It inflames. Like I said, the burning, the inflammation. I have been in pain every day since 2017. And from what I understand, is not only am I handicapped the rest of my life, but it's 4 surgeries later, 6 years later, learning how to walk again twice. After all this misery and going through 4 surgeries, I have been educated and I have CRPS. And if people don't know what CRPS is, it's basically like chronic regional pain in a limb.
Mhm.
And it happens from a traumatic injury or traumatic surgery. And it's all about the nerve system. And basically, CRPS is the most painful disease a human could ever experience or go by. And it's incurable, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm not trying to sound like a hard ass or anything, but like I said, it goes in different orders. Like right now, talking to you, I could be at a level 2 right now, but my 2 that I'm used to could be like your 5 or 6. You need to go to the hospital. So
I see. So the pain has gotten so extreme that it's just become your everyday.
it's become my everyday. So I became desensitized to it, is the terminology,
Oh,
and
wow.
so my 2 could be like your 5. But with that being said, it's gone to a 10 before, and they call this the suicide disease because
Oh, no.
um people think that killing themselves is an escape and better than experiencing what we experience. CRPS is bullshit and awful, and no one should go through what I'm going through, let alone others. And it's apparently, and sounds crazy, but there's doctor charts. I actually posted it on my social media to explain it
Mhm.
better. This is the most painful thing a human can experience, and I experience it every single day. Whether it's a level 3 or straight up to an 8, or whether tomorrow's at a 5, it's the most painful thing a human could ever go through. Like, and according to the doctor scale, you can surgically amputate someone's limb, like an arm, a leg, without anesthesia, and that pain that person feels is less than what I feel right now.
Good lord.
A woman can go into childbirth without any medicine, and this is worse than that. It on the scales it shows like cancer and other different diseases. This is the most painful thing a person can go through, and I have been going through it for 6 years, and it's the most insane thing ever. I sacrifice my life. I sacrifice everything. I do the right way. I for wrestling. I had so many offers, like so many, like weirdos in my DMs saying, "Hey, if you like sleep with me, I'll give you an audition and stuff." Like, or "Hey, I can get you a job
Really?
here." So many offers
Oh,
throughout the
boy.
years, and I've always turned them down. I did it the right way. I did
Mhm.
it I didn't clout chase. I didn't hook up with this person or this person. I didn't play politics. I did
That's
it
the
the
way to do it.
right way just to end up in a wheelchair and just to have CRPS. And then there's some people out there, which I'm not going to get into it, but just for the round spectrum of it, there's people that mock me for not wrestling. There's people that are making fun of me for not getting out there and wrestling, aka they're making fun of me for being handicapped. And it's like, I did everything you were supposed to do to become a wrestler, and then I have a WWE Hall of Famer, Rikishi. My last day at school got me in front of the whole class and said, "This kid's a wrestler." I have a Hall of Famer putting me over and telling me, "You are a wrestler now, kid." Just to be put in a wheelchair and be made fun of for not being out there and wrestling right now. And the sad thing is, I wouldn't be. If it was just a simple injury, I would have had surgery, got better, and now I'm back in it. But it's CRPS, guys. I am disabled and handicapped the rest of my life. I'm in chronic pain, facing the most painful disease you could ever face, the most painful feeling you could ever feel. And I got out of that wheelchair. And now, for those that are concerned, I can't re-injure what's already injured. I can break my leg tomorrow, but I can't
I mean,
re-injure what.
you can't get, like, a double shot of
Ex-
CRPS or a triple shot of it.
right, right. So I got this illness. It's there. It's painful. It gets hot. But I got out of that wheelchair because I wanted to wrestle again. I am a wrestler and I wanted to wrestle again. So me getting medically cleared to wrestle again is so big, not just for me, but for other people. And that's why I'm starting to slowly. I've been medically cleared to start weight training, and I'm starting to get back into fitness and being able to get into proper shape. I put on so much weight in that wheelchair, and I ended up losing it. I've lost the majority of it, 100 pounds, guys. Like, I put on so much weight.
Congratulations. That's a
Thank
very
you.
big feat.
Going from, it's crazy, going from basically being a fitness model to being put in a wheelchair and gaining weight from all the medicines being pumped in me, to just being idle and not able to walk, was it messed with my mental health. So getting out of that wheelchair and losing the weight and being in chronic pain as I learned how to walk again, like it was the most insane experience I ever experienced. And I feel like my purpose and destiny is to get medically cleared to wrestle and inspire other people. I feel like that's my destiny, is to inspire other people that are in, whether it's CRPS or other illnesses. There, people are in pain, and chronic pain is very real, and just because it's invisible, a lot of people downplay it, and a lot of people, like, people see me and they're like, "Oh, she's pretty," or, "Oh, she's always smiling all the time, she must have the best life ever." And I'm in chronic pain, and no one would ever have guessed it.
It's
And
usually the people who are in the most pain that do their best not to show it and
yeah,
are more concerned with how well everybody else is doing.
yeah,
And I totally get
I
that
agree.
sort of vibe from you, and I think that's amazing that you're able to maintain that throughout all this.
Thank you, and I definitely agree. I don't want to be a burden on anyone. I don't want to cause any problems, and I try to stay out of drama, and I try to stay away from it all, and I don't want people to have sympathy for me. I don't want a handout, but also I feel like I could have just stayed in that wheelchair. I could have had the crazy story and then just ended there. And for some reason, just something about it, it was just like, I have to get out of this wheelchair. I have to fight. And I didn't have proper medical insurance at the time, so I didn't have physical therapy. I had to do it myself. And I had, of course, my friend Nathaniel helping me, but no family, no friends, no medical assistance, no medicine. I had to learn how to walk again at a freaking Planet Fitness. I had to
Hmm.
learn how to walk again at my gym by myself. It was the most painful thing I've ever experienced, and apparently I wasn't educated on it. I didn't know what I was experiencing. I just knew if I
Mhm.
couldn't give up. And I
Yeah.
was vomiting because the pain was so much. And now it turns out, oh, that's like what it feels like if someone sawed off your arm. That's cool. Like, I literally didn't realize that's what the pain I was pushing through. It was awful, the worst pain I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it
But
was
I didn't know
to a
it was
level
that
that I
bad.
think is it at a level I think regular people can't really put their head around. They can't really grasp it, and I think that I don't, it's not an excuse at all. But I think that's why maybe some people are willing to mock you over it, or some people are willing to make fun of you. I think it comes from a place of maybe some kind of ignorance where they think, ah, it can't
It
be
can't
that
be
bad.
that bad.
She's up
Yeah.
and
Oh, there's
walking
no way.
around. She's doing this. It's fine. It's fine. No, she's making something out of nothing, and it doesn't certainly doesn't sound like something out of nothing from what you're telling
Right.
me. Absolutely not.
Right. It honestly, it's insane because, I mean, from the outside in, just me talking to you right now, you would think that I was normal and that everything's good, but really, I'm sleep deprived. I'm exhausted. I'm in like my version of a level 3, but I'm sure if I can like touch somebody and they can feel my pain, I'm sure my level 3 is probably someone's level 8, and because they're not used to this pain that I'm used to. When you feel pain every single second of every single day for 6 years, you kind of they get used to it, and
Yeah, it's there every day.
my different levels, like, it's so annoying because it doesn't say at a level 8, which thank God it doesn't, but it doesn't stay on one level and it's just constantly that. It's flare ups and different. Like, I could be on a level 8 all day and it hurts, but the next day I'll wake up and it will be like a level 3, and the longer I'm on it, it got to a level 5 that day. So it's hard to explain, but from my different education that I've had on it is, think of the worst pain you've ever felt in your entire life,
Mhm.
And then in my case, put it on the bottom of both of your feet and live your day. Live your day. You go to the gym, you walk your dog, you go to dinner with your wife and kids. Oh, you go to work. Do that. But the worst pain you've ever felt in your entire life, put it on the bottom of both your feet.
Yeah, your feet are supposed to support you,
Yep.
and you
You can't
have a
escape it.
foundation of pain. I mean, think about that,
You
you
can't
know?
escape it. And like it's sad because and I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself, but my first thought every day is the pain. Like I feel like I got ran over by a truck. And then my last thought before I go to bed is pain. I feel like my whole purpose is to wrestle again and bring awareness to CRPS and then other invisible disabilities or chronic illnesses. I feel like I'm meant to be a spokesperson and bring awareness to this stuff and help people not try to kill themselves to try to live a better quality life. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean your life's over. Just because you're in chronic pain, one, I believe you and you're valid in your chronic pain, but two, don't give up and like if I can be a wrestler and you see me wrestle on TV,
Mhm.
then maybe this kid won't feel so bad about their disability and seek help, or maybe they're a scared kid that has CRPS and they're not aware of what CRPS is yet, and then they see me, and then that could go down the rabbit hole of them seeking help.
And I think it's great you take a story like that and turn it as a source of inspiration for others. I mean, you were saying, you know, people like Bobby Blaze, Rikishi, and Funaki, they were all great inspirations for you.
Yeah,
And then you got stricken with this, so you're gonna take that inspiration that they gave you and then hopefully be able to pass it on to other people who are dealing with something similar. I think that's really great. I think that is a noble way to go about it, and it's definitely something I think this world could use a lot more of. I think we need a lot of more positivity, way less negativity, and I think
yeah,
that's a fantastic way to go about it. Absolutely.
yeah. I just I'm gonna be honest with you. It's the principle of I'd be dead right now if there wasn't that purpose. I'm in chronic pain and it's like either amputate my leg or I'm gonna kill myself. Like that's how bad, that's how real it is, guys. My life is CRPS. My mental health is CRPS. My everyday is CRPS every time I wake up. And I found a purpose. And my
Yeah.
purpose is to wrestle again. My purpose is to help others so they don't end their lives.
That is definitely a fantastic way to look at it. It's one thing I always think. I always say that you need something to look forward to,
Yeah.
and pro wrestling, getting up out of that wheelchair, getting back into the ring, recovering, as painful as it can be, and I'm sure
Yeah.
it's levels of pain that I probably couldn't even fathom. But you have that to look forward to, and that's fantastic. It's an absolute shame that some have turned to suicide. Again, you don't know everybody's story, so it's not meant to be a judgmental thing. But
Yeah.
it's great that you're able to steer away from that,
Yeah.
and instead of finding a reason to end your life, you're trying to find a reason for other people to enrich their lives, to
Yeah.
enhance their lives, and I think
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I want to get the message out there and I hope to be fully wrestling within the next 6 months. Like I've been out for six
That,
years.
wow,
Yeah, I want
6 months.
to
That's amazing.
I that's the goal is I want to weight train, get in the best physical shape as possible, get my feet strong, and I want to get the message out there. I want to full-time wrestle again and I want to just get the word of CRPS out there and really start saving lives and also living my dream of being a wrestler as well.
There you go. So you can achieve your dream, and hopefully help people achieve theirs. I
That's
mean,
so, and it's so
there's
hard
not a better way to live.
It's so hard because I have such a goth dark gimmick. I have such a heel gimmick as the Black Dahlia and as a villain online and as the Chainsaw Queen. I have such a bad heel gimmick, and now I'm trying to be like a freaking John Cena or something. You know what I mean?
Well, everyone loves a redemption story, so look at it that way.
Yes, I invested so much in this dark Harley Quinn, like just like evil gimmick, just to be like, I want to save lives. I'm like a Disney princess mixed with the Chainsaw Queen. It doesn't make sense.
That sounds like a great gimmick to me. So I think it's great. I think you have nothing to be worried about.
I'll be the goth Barbie. That'll be the gimmick.
So you said 6 months is a goal in your mind. Um,
I'm half awake, but yeah, I have this 6 month goal of fitness and weight training and uh different new goals I have set for in the gym and what my feet can do, and then what my the rest of my upper body strength can do. And who knows? It all depends on what the doctors say, of course.
all things considered, though, with your 6 month goal, where would you like to end up? Where do you, all things considered, where would you like to be?
So, like I said, I've been involved with wrestling since 2011, and I never wanted to be on TV. I never wanted to make it big. I just wanted to at the time I was a valet, but then when I started becoming a wrestler, all I wanted to do, and I know this sounds so lame and so nerdy, and like, cause like as a theater nerd, it was so artistic to say I didn't want to go to Hollywood and be in blockbusters. I just want to be in the
Hmm,
theater, like that mentality.
I gotcha.
So I brought that over to wrestling, and I was just like, I don't want to be on WWE. I was looking at it as a more of a indie film grunge artistic style. So I was just like, I wanted to, especially when I became a wrestler, I wanted to wrestle, but not on the big leagues. And I wanted to make a living, buy a house, and then maybe open up my own school one day. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to TV. I was so theater nerd cringe. I was like, I don't want to do that. And then
But still,
I met
even
a
before that, I mean, you say it's cringe, but you're still even thinking about giving back by opening up your own school.
Yeah, yeah. The goals, but so I hit a wall with Rikishi when I told him this. He's like, "You need to go to WWE." So like that was one of the things he tried to install in me is no, you want to go to WWE. This is where you need to be. So he put it in my head that I need to be on TV. And even like before, when spoke to Bobby Blaze, like 2 years prior to that conversation, I was like, they said I needed to be on the grander stage. So, sitting here now, battling CRPS, being out for so long, and
Hmm.
just genuinely trying to get back in it and have my proper first match and actually be wrestling. Um, I guess anywhere that wants to give me a paycheck, because at this point with CRPS, I feel like I don't care about followers. I don't care about likes. Like I'm not that materialistic. Social media can be like an artistic expression with like different photo shoots, especially with the gimmick as Dahlia. Like it's cute, fun, share memes and express yourself artistically, but I never was about clout followers or anything. I was never about going to TV. But now that I have CRPS, I feel like I kind of need to be on a bigger platform to reach out to people. So AEW, WWE, anything like that is probably my 2 year goal.
Sounds like a very solid goal, and I like the fact that even with that goal, you're still thinking about other people. And I
Yeah,
think,
I
again,
have to
I
have
said
a
before.
purpose because, guys, let's be honest. Like this doesn't. I could be in a mansion right now,
Mhm,
signed to WWE or whatever, whatever. And I'll still have CRPS.
yeah.
it doesn't matter if I'm on TV. It doesn't matter if I have all the money in the world. It doesn't matter. I've been homeless, guys. I've used the bathroom in McDonald's dollar tea cup, styrofoam cups. Like I I've gone days without food. I've multiple times throughout my life. I was homeless, starving, just to wrestle and just to work out. And I don't care about money. I don't care about fame and fortune. I've never been materialistic at all. And I feel like even if I was signed right now or sitting in a nice house surrounded by all these objects, I'd still have CRPS. And when you say I'm still thinking about others, that's what I'm living for. And that sounds so Disney princess cringe and weird saying that, but it's true and it's authentic. Like m- I'm alive to help people. That's it. That's all I want. That's my motivation.
Alive to help people. I think that is a great mentality. It's something I think we need to hear. We need to hear a lot more positivity,
Yeah.
because if you follow, if you're on any social media site that has to that follows pro wrestling or anything, it seems like every story is negative, 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 and I
Yeah.
for one am just so tired of it. And so having this interview today for me has been very refreshing. It's kind of one of those, restoring faith in the
Oh
human
wow. Thank
condition.
you.
And
Yeah.
so I appreciate that, and I know everybody's who's viewing this right now is also going to appreciate that. So Dahlia, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to be here on the member spotlight, and you
Yeah.
definitely have the support of Wrestling All Day All Night. And we are going to see, not expect to see, we are definitely going to see big things from you in the future. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely look me up, the Black Dahlia, on social medias, and I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon.